storm may be brewing over the use of rainy day funds in Knox County. We'll have the details. A case of a missing woman turns tragic today after a house explosion. And in sports, the New York Giants are once again Super Bowl champs. News Center 22 starts now.
Local news, weather, and sports. Produced through the combined efforts of the students, staff, and faculty of Vincennes University's electronic media program, this is News Center 22.
Knox County's two governing bodies seem to disagree about where the money should come from to make up for a budget shortfall. Good evening. For News Center 22, I'm Jesse Gwynn. Currently, the Knox County E911 budget is $175,000 short. That was the word from E911 Director Debbie Schmidnick to the Knox County Commissioners this morning. She says her $600,000 budget will come up short due to a lack of revenue caused by the continued decrease in the use of landline phones. E911 gets a portion of its money from taxes generated by phone use. Schmidnick told the Knox County Commissioners that she was instructed by the County Council's Budget and Finance Committee to approach the Commissioners requesting the funds out of the edit funds. Schmidnick admitted she was uncomfortable making the request since she was not part of the fiscal body of the county. The Commissioners agreed and felt that the Council's Finance Committee should have been represented at today's meeting. Commissioner Kevin Meyer says edit funds should go for economic development projects and not for operating expenses for department. He made the motion to take the money from the county's rainy day fund, which currently holds a balance of $4 million. He says that money is for a rainy day and that E911 is currently in a thunderstorm. The request will be sent onto the County Council, which is set to meet next Monday night. Vincennes Mayor Joe Yoakum says the city will likely get stuck with a bill for cleaning up the old Gimbel Corner site following a fire that destroyed that building in December. Mayor Yoakum says the city may apply for a state disaster grant to help pay for the cleanup, which is estimated to cost $100,000. According to the Vincennes Sun commercial, if the grant doesn't work out, Yoakum says the city will have to figure out where to find the money to clear away the debris. Property owner Daryl Lommel has expressed interest in handling the property over to the city since he doesn't have the money to clear the debris. Yoakum says that very well could be a possibility. Many downtown merchants have suggested turning the property into a parking lot, but Yoakum says a parking lot would be too costly to construct and offer no revenue in return. Police report that 51 people were arrested for mostly minor offenses in the downtown Super Bowl Village in Indianapolis the night ahead of the game. The city's public safety department says most were arrested for fighting or public intoxication in the 12-hour period from 7 p.m. Saturday to 7 a.m. Sunday. Tens of thousands of people attended Saturday events in the area that were highlighted with a free outdoor concert by the band OAR. On Friday night, an even larger crowd for a concert by the band LMFAO forced street closures throughout the downtown area. Police say 22 people were arrested and 11 injured Friday night. Indiana State Police released numbers Friday detailing the amount of meth labs reported last year. Vanderburgh County topped the list for the second year in a row with 116 labs discovered. There were 1,437 labs discovered statewide last year, which was a fair increase from last year's 1,395 cases reported. In the Evansville district, again, Vanderburgh was #1 in the state and #1 in that district. Knox and Gibson counties tied for second with 25 labs each in 2011. In the Jasper district, Davies County was #1 with 21 labs found. A Hamilton County jury has found Charlie White guilty on 6 of the 7 felony charges against him. The jury handed up the verdict at 2:20 Saturday morning after deliberating for about 10 hours. White and his attorney, Carl Brizzi, say they're now weighing their options after the jury conviction. The jury convicted White for submitting a false voter registration application, 2 perjury counts, voting in another precinct, and casting a false ballot, and theft. The jury found White not guilty of the most serious felony charge, fraud on a financial institution. A sentencing date is pending. Good Samaritan Hospital is seeking names for its new 5-story inpatient tower it plans to build. The contest is open to residents of Knox, Davies, Pike, Sullivan, Gibson, and Greene counties in Indiana. and Crawford, Lawrence, Richland, and Wabash counties in Illinois who are at least 18 years of age. GSH employees and their families are also eligible to participate. For more information about the contest, you can go to our website, WVUT.org. And still to come on News Center 22, the husband of a missing woman is accused of killing himself and his two sons in a home explosion Sunday. We'll have the details. And while the Pates and Giants battled it out on the field, two new releases battled it out at the box office. Find out more when we come back. Stay with us.
Next time on Frontline,
they went into houses and killed women and children.
was it a war crime or self-defense?
The platoon commander told them to clear the houses. Clear means to eliminate the threat.
How can a child in pajamas be considered a threat?
The inside story of what happened at Haditha.
We know the Iraqi people aren't the enemy, but our enemy hides among them.
Rules of engagement. Watch Frontline.
The idea of the Freedom Rides is challenging segregation so frontally and so aggressively.
We were past fear. If one person falls, others take their place.
I asked God to be with me, to give me the strength I would need to remain nonviolent.
We knew that we had taken a stand and that it was going to be better.
Freedom Riders, an American experience film.
The case of a missing Utah woman took a tragic turn Sunday. Washington state authorities say they believe a Seattle area man deliberately set off an explosion that took his life and the lives of his two boys. Josh Powell was the focus of an investigation into the disappearance of his wife, Susan Cox Powell. Rick Vincent has the story.
Roaring flames, thick smoke, and ash. The aftermath of an explosion, one that authorities say Josh Powell ignited to kill himself and his two young sons. Sheriff's deputies say it appears Powell sent an email shortly before the fire saying, quote, "I'm sorry, goodbye."
I mean, this is all on him. He set this up. He did it. He is the one who started the fire.
Investigators say a foster care caseworker brought Powell's two boys to this Pierce County, Washington home on Sunday for a supervised visit. As the children got close to the door, Powell dragged them inside and locked the caseworker out. Moments later, a fiery blast leveled the house.
When we first came out, there was white stuff flying around everywhere.
It happened just days after Powell was denied custody of his boys by a Washington judge who ruled they should remain with their grandparents. Police say Powell was a person of interest in the case of his missing wife. Susan Cox Powell hasn't been seen since December 2009 in Utah. A month after she vanished, Josh Powell moved with her sons to Washington State. Utah police now say they were building a case to charge Josh Powell with murder.
First the wife, the mother of those two boys, and then him and his two sons. You know, it's one thing to have him get charged or not charged and deal with it, but it's evil.
Now, family, friends, and investigators must face the fact some of the answers they wanted may have been lost in the flames. This is Rick Vincent reporting.
Authorities are also investigating Josh Powell's father for possession of child pornography and voyeurism. Court documents say detectives found sexually explicit images of juveniles on Stephen Powell's computer last year during their investigation into the Susan Powell Cox disappearance. Susan Powell was living with his son, Josh Powell, and the boys at the time. He's now in jail on those charges. Authorities in Pakistan say at least 2 people were killed and 12 injured when this 3-story factory building collapsed in Lahore. 9 people have been rescued from the rubble. A young boy is reportedly among the dead. Officials say 43 workers were in the building on Monday morning when calamity struck the building's boiler as the building's boiler exploded. As many as 35 people may still be trapped in the rubble. Pakistan has been criticized for weak building regulations that often go unenforced. Susan B. Komen is trying to win back supporters. Many were angry when the organization decided to reinstate funding for Planned Parenthood. Susan Candiotti has the story.
Way to go, girl. Susan G. Komen for the Cure is known for its races and other events that draw huge crowds and big donations. But those donations may take a dive after Komen reinstated its funding for Planned Parenthood, which provides health care for women, including abortion. National Right to Life says Komen will face consequences, urging the anti-abortion movement to stop writing checks to Komen.
When people and women want to run in races, people want to donate to cancer research organizations, they want to support the work they're doing. But they ultimately want to make sure that their donations, their hard-earned money, is not going to be going to the nation's largest abortion provider, Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood says abortions total 3% of its health care services. Komen says its funding to Planned Parenthood paid for breast cancer screenings and referrals, not abortion. It doesn't matter, says Right to Life, but for a fundraising juggernaut like Komen, what does matter is whether it can win back donors who rallied support for Planned Parenthood, including a $250,000 donation from New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Even some of Komen's critics, who have questioned its corporate ties, say it was right to restore funding to Planned Parenthood.
I don't think Komen's job is to make everyone happy. I think our job as breast cancer advocates is to ensure that women's health comes first. Women's health needs to come before politics. It needs to come before religious pressure.
After alienating those on both sides of the abortion divide in just 1 week, Komen must now try to convince them to focus on a shared cause, fighting breast cancer. Susan Candiotti, CNN, New York.
They say money can't buy you love. Tell that to the Americans who will shell out an estimated $17.6 billion this Valentine's Day. A survey by the National Retail Federation predicts the average person plans to spend about $126, up nearly 9% from last year. Men are predicted to spend more than women, shelling out close to $169 compared to their female counterparts' $86. Jewelry purchases are expected to reach roughly $4 billion, up from $3.5 billion last year. The second most popular gift, a special evening out, could rake in about $3.5 billion from consumers. And billions more will be spent on flowers, candy, clothing, and gift cards. A pop star returns to the stage and makes a special dedication. Plus, it was a battle for the top spot at the weekend box office. Elizabeth Corridon has the details with this Hollywood Minute.
Katy Perry is back. The pop star performed Saturday night at a celebrity-packed concert in Indianapolis. It was her first U.S. performance since announcing her split from husband Russell Brand. People magazine reports Perry was getting in the football spirit. She dedicated one song to Denver Broncos quarterback Tim Tebow, even though his team did not make it to this year's Super Bowl. Hollywood and Broadway are mourning the loss of actor Ben Gazzara. He died of pancreatic cancer. His 60-year career included more than 100 films and television movies and an Emmy Award. Gazzara also appeared in several Broadway plays, including Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and received multiple Tony nominations. Ben Gazzara was 81 years old. It was a close weekend at the box office. Chronicle eked out a win in its debut weekend, taking in about $22 million. Daniel Radcliffe's latest movie, The Woman in Black, came in a close second with $21 million in ticket sales. And in its second weekend on the big screen, The Grey, starring Liam Neeson, came in at number 3. For Hollywood Minute, I'm Elizabeth Corridon.
So it may be just a bit cooler today than most of last week, but the sun was still enjoyable today. Danny Taborn is in now to let us know what to expect this week. Danny?
Well, tomorrow should be much like today, Jesse, but watch for a slight chance of snow showers come Wednesday. I'll have your complete forecast right after this.
Twin girls joined at the head with little chance for survival.
One of them was dying of heart failure, and the other one would have then died shortly thereafter.
Nova documents the journey to free them from each other, save their lives, and make medical history.
Are you looking for your sister? She's there.
If these kids can